I want to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with yourself, not with me. You became so good at reading the room that you forgot how to read yourself. But it didn't stop there. You started watching other people's lives and quietly measuring yours against theirs. Their career, their confidence, the way they carried themselves, the way people looked at them, and something in you whispered, "Why don't I have that? Why am I not that?" So you started adjusting, not your appearance, something deeper, your opinions, your values, the dreams you allowed yourself to have, the person you permitted yourself to be. You started chasing a version of success that looked nothing like what you actually wanted, but everything like what they had. You performed confidence you didn't feel. You pretended to want things you didn't want. You abandoned ideas that were yours because nobody else seemed to think that way. And slowly, without realizing it, you stopped being you. Not because you were weak, but because you were never told that who you already were was enough. This video is for you. Not the version of you that performs for other people. Not the version that compares and shrinks and chases. The real one. The one you have been hiding. The one that has been waiting for a very long time for you to come back. Here is what nobody tells you about comparison. It doesn't just make you feel bad. It slowly dismantles you. Every time you look at someone else's life and decide yours is less than, you are making a quiet decision that their path is the right path, that their values are the correct values, that the way they are living is the standard you are supposed to meet. And the more you do that, the more you hand your life over to someone who has no idea they are even holding it. Because here is the truth about the people you compare yourself to. They are not thinking about you. They are not sitting wherever they are, measuring their life against yours. They are dealing with their own doubts, their own fears, their own quiet moments of wondering if they are enough. But you don't see that part. You only see what they show, and you are comparing your entire inside to their carefully curated outside. That is not a fair fight, and it was never meant to be one. But comparison does something even more dangerous than making you feel behind. It makes you betray yourself. You stop pursuing the things that actually matter to you because they don't look impressive enough next to what someone else is doing. You silence your own opinions because theirs sound more certain. You abandon your own path because theirs looks more successful. And then one day, you look at your life and you don't recognize it. Not because something was taken from you, but because you gave it away. One comparison at a time, one small betrayal at a time, until the person looking back at you is a collection of other people's choices wearing your face. That is what comparison actually does. It doesn't just steal your peace, it steals you. But here is what I really want you to understand. You did not wake up one day and decide to stop being yourself. Something happened first. Nobody compares themselves to others out of nowhere. Nobody abandons who they are without a reason. There was a moment, maybe many moments, where who you were was not received well. Maybe you spoke up once and the room went quiet, and you learned, my voice makes people uncomfortable. Maybe you shared something you were proud of and someone minimized it, and you learned, my dreams are not worth taking seriously. Maybe you were just yourself, completely, openly yourself, and someone looked at you like that was wrong. And you learned the most dangerous lesson of all. Who I am is not enough. So you started looking around, studying other people, watching what got praised, what got attention, what made people lean in instead of pull away. And you started editing yourself, slowly, carefully, cutting away the parts that felt too exposed, performing the parts that seemed to land better. And it worked. People responded, people approved, and that approval felt so good, after so long of feeling like too much or not enough, that you kept going. Further and further from yourself, deeper and deeper into a version of you that was built for other people. And now here you are, exhausted, not from the work, but from the performance, because performing who you are is the most tiring thing a human being can do. And somewhere underneath all of it, the real you is still there, quieter now, more uncertain, wondering if it is even safe to come back out. It is, and that is exactly what we are going to talk about. You are not the first person to lose themselves in the noise of other people's lives. This is not a modern problem, it is a human one, and the people who thought most deeply about what it means to live well had something to say about it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was not just talking about circumstances. He was talking about the tendency we all have to let the outside world become the measure of our inside world, to let what other people have, what other people think, what other people choose, become the standard by which we judge ourselves. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. He was surrounded by people with opinions about him, expectations of him, and still he came back to this. The only thing that is truly yours is what happens inside you. Not their path, not their timeline, not their version of success, yours. Rumi understood something else entirely. He wrote, "Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open?" The prison he was speaking of is not made of walls. It is made of comparison, of borrowed values, of a life you are living, because you were too afraid to live the one that was actually yours. Rumi spent his life writing about the soul, about the deep inner life that gets buried under performance and pretending. And his entire body of work was essentially one long invitation. Come back to yourself. Stop performing. Stop pretending. The life you are looking for is not out there in someone else. It is in here. It always was. And then there is Epictetus, who said, "Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life." What he was pointing at is the exhaustion that comes from constantly wishing you were someone else, from constantly measuring your life against a standard that was never meant for you. The moment you stop wishing your life looked like theirs and start showing up fully in the life that is actually yours, something shifts, not because your circumstances changed, but because you finally stopped fighting against yourself. I want you to think about something. The person you have been comparing yourself to, the one whose life looks so put together, whose path looks so certain, whose success looks so effortless. They are not you. And I don't mean that in a simple way. I mean it in the deepest way possible. Their path was built for them. Their strengths, their history, their specific combination of experiences, wounds, gifts, and timing. What worked for them works for them because it grew out of who they are. And when you try to transplant that into your life, into your story, into your specific and unrepeatable existence, it will never fit. Not because you are less, but because you are different. And different is not a problem to be solved. Different is the whole point. Think about this. There is nobody on this earth who has your exact combination of everything. The way you think, the way you feel things, the specific pain you have survived, the specific joy that lights you up. That is not ordinary. That is the most valuable thing you own. And you have been trading it away, trying to become someone who already exists. The world does not need another version of them. It already has one. What it does not have is you. The real you. The unedited you. The you that existed before you decided that who you were needed to be fixed. And here is what I want you to sit with. Every moment you spend trying to be someone else is a moment your actual life goes unlived. Your actual gifts go unused. Your actual path goes untaken. Because you were too busy walking someone else's road to notice that yours was right there, waiting. It is still waiting. It has never stopped waiting for you. So how do you come back? After years of adjusting, performing, comparing, and slowly disappearing, how do you find your way back to who you actually are? I want to be honest with you about this. It is not a single moment. It is not one decision that fixes everything. It is a practice. A daily, intentional, sometimes uncomfortable practice of choosing yourself over and over again. And it starts with something small. It starts with noticing. Noticing the moments when you adjust yourself before you even think about it. The moment you are about to share an opinion and you swallow it because you are not sure how it will land. Notice that. The moment you are about to make a decision and you stop and check what someone else would do first. Notice that. The moment you feel genuinely excited about something and then immediately wonder if it is the right thing to be excited about. Notice that. Because awareness is always the first step. You cannot return to yourself if you do not first see how far you have drifted. And then, once you start noticing, you start asking. Not, what would they do? Not, what looks most impressive? Not, what will get the most approval? But, what do I actually think? What do I actually want? What feels true to me, right now, in this moment? And I know those questions might feel strange at first, because you have spent so long outsourcing those answers to other people, that your own inner voice has gotten quiet. It has learned not to speak too loudly. It has learned to wait, to see what everyone else thinks first. But it is still there. It never left. It just needs you to start listening again. And the more you listen, the stronger it gets. Coming back to yourself also means giving yourself permission to want different things. Permission to value what you actually value, not what you think you should value. Permission to move at your own pace, instead of measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. Permission to be somewhere in your journey that looks nothing like where they are in theirs, and to be completely at peace with that. Because your life is not a competition. It never was. It is an unfolding. Yours. Unique. Unrepeatable. Worthy of being lived fully, on its own terms. And the most radical thing you can do, in a world that profits from your insecurity, in a world that constantly tells you that you are not enough as you are, is to decide that you are. Not because you have arrived somewhere, not because you have figured it all out, but because you are here. You are real. And the life that is waiting for you, on the other side of all this comparison, all this performing, all this pretending, is more yours than anything you have ever lived. Not their life. Yours. Fully. Unapologetically. Completely. You were never meant to be them. You were always meant to be you. Go be that person.